でも赤ちゃんは無事です。これも運命か。
I must admit, over the years I've seen a lot of anime do crying in different ways, but this brings a new meaning to Cry Me a River. Dude's just leaking.
また気を失う前にあなたの名を聞かせてほしい。
ダリオブランドと言いやす。
Yes, and your stalling of the simple question of what is your name and sinister grin definitely don't come across as you being a shady character, you knobhead. Literal face hugger.
ジョジョ、マナー。
ごめんなさい。
Good job, subtitles.
向こうへ行けよ。僕は君に感謝されたくってあいつらに向かって行ったんじゃないぞ。
Says this despite running towards them earlier shouting, I don't know her but I'll fight for her, so if he didn't do it for her sake then it doesn't really make any sense at all.
僕は本当の紳士を目指しているからだ。君が女の子で困っていたからだ。
So you did still basically do it for her sake?
クズめ。
That doesn't look like spit. Could he have...
人は噛まないから。何をするんだ、許さん。
If you're new to this channel then I must apologise for what's about to happen, but kicking a dog is just so f***ing annoying. For those of you who watch my videos often, you'll know there are a few things that mean more to me in this world than my wife and my animals and all animals in general.
家も金も人も全て持った坊ちゃん面だな。精神的に追い詰め、ゆくゆくはこのディオが。
Also, how the fuck does this little cunt expect to get any money from the family after kicking their dog like 30 seconds after arriving?
ジョジョも母親を亡くしている。それに同い年だ。仲良くしてやってくれたまえ。
Yup, those are the usual tick-off boxes when it comes to friendship. I'm sure dead mother is somewhere up high on the list.
来たまえ、ディオ君。君の部屋に案内しよう。
はい。何してんだ。
運んであげようと。
結構。
The father has literally just gone up a few steps and yet doesn't hear the commotion of his son getting beaten up in the middle of the no doubt echoey hall.
二人とも何をしておるのだ。早く来なさい。
はい。
What's the bet that Jojo won't go and tell his father about any of this little shit's actions?
黙ってたったの一言も言わないで。
Feeding poisonous grapes to a dog?
なんて可愛らしいんだろう。
ジョジョ、何を掘ってるの？
Bringing a knife with you when you plan to have a splash around in the water.
決して許さない。君の僕に対する嫌がらせではない。僕のことなどどうでもいい。
I must admit, I can't recall the entrance hallway being big enough to hold a man sprinting and having this long of a conversation before reaching his target.
彼女に対する侮辱が許さない。許しいぞ。
My god, I've got to give another sim for the conversation continuing even more after this. Just reach the damn target already, dude. This dialogue very much sounds as though it should be in his head. I mean, he's talking as though the guy isn't directly in front of him.
しかしジョジョ、今のは抵抗もできなくなったディオを一方的に殴っていたように見えた。
So is his dad just a complete and utter twat or what? I'm confused because Jojo was not beating him whilst he was on the floor at all. Secondly, Dio clearly was wielding a knife visibly in front of the father for a couple of seconds and nothing is said about it. It could be a mistake the anime made, or it's intentional that the father is making it all up to defend Dio, and if that's the case, I'll remove the two sins. Well done, genius. It only took you like 10 seconds.
エリナ。くそ、ディオ。
He's talking this close to her and she can't hear him.
くそ、ディオ。
あまりにひどい亡骸だったので、お前には見せずに埋葬したよ。
The fact that the dog was killed like this in that horrific way gets 10 sins from me, but the fact that they didn't talk a huge amount about it or show it will get 5 sins removed, so I'll just add 5 here. Middlesex is actually 1 word and not 2.
やったな、ジョジョ。
ディオ、見事だったよ、君の走りは。
ありがとう。だがジョジョ、君あってのトライさ。
Holding hands for an awkward amount of time is awkward.
デ リオグランドは法律でナンバーワンの成績で卒業する予定。
This guy narrating is the same one narrating their entire match just now, and to the best of my knowledge is now seemingly talking about the two, still to the crowd, about very odd facts regarding them.
今ディオとあんな会話をしていたけど、正直僕は彼に対して友情を感じていない。なぜ？彼はあんなにすごくていいやつなのに。
Probably because he killed your fucking dog.
ディオ、学園の新聞に君たちの友情について書くけど、話してくれないか？
友情だって？照れるな。
Making it sound gay, and this guy is very interested.
I'm gay. そして父にはもう近づかん。この薬を分析して必ず刑務所に放り込んでやるぞ。
Still referring to it as medicine when you already fully believe it's poison. This sentence is incorrect. It should read either there is sufficient hardness to deal a fatal amount of damage or to cause a fatality. Oh, so they're not trying to make it fairly realistic? Somehow I feel as though some people may get the wrong idea about London from this.
どうした執事？なぜ邸内の明かりを消している？
And I kept the lights off to create the person walking into a dark room when someone in said dark room lights something up to startle them cliche.
罪の償いがしたいんだ。
ディオ。
ジョースターさん、気をつけろ。信じるなよ、そいつの言葉を。
Wow. They actually followed it up by using the same cliche again on the same character in the same room. That's ballsy.
ジョジョ、お前の血でだ。
Wait a second, wasn't the slow-moving father right across the room and going up the stairs? Did he just run to his son and dive in front of him instead of calling out and warning him? Silly old man.
だがとんでもない。奴はバスの事故を幸い、金品を漁っていた小ずるい悪党だったのだ。
Which is absolutely true, but not something anyone would actually know, unless it was the woman who was with him who mentioned it. But since we were never told how they know this, it equals a sin.
彼はこう言わなかったかね。この指輪は私からもらったと。
言いましたとも。とんでもない嘘をね。
この指輪は彼に送ったものだ。
なぜそんなデタラメを。
私も貧困の中に生まれたら同じことをしていたかもしれない。これを売って家族に何か買ってやってください。
But you just told the officer that you gave it to him. Then you make the excuse up for him of, I'd have tried stealing the ring in his position, and then give it to him in front of the officer. In short, if you're gonna lie to the police, at least keep up the ruse for more than 10 seconds.
こっちに向かってくるぞ。何してる？早く狙撃しろ。
ディオ、止まれ。ディオ。
Just shoot him, for God's sake.
俺はこんなに素晴らしい力を手に入れたぞ。石仮面から。お前の父親の力。
Explaining during a battle where your powers come from, cliche. CGI.
言ったろう、ジョジョ。策を浪すれば浪するほど人間には限界があるのだよ。
No, you actually didn't say anything like human schemes have their limits, unless I've just completely misread all of the previous statements he's made up until this point.
何を？逃げろ、スピードワゴン。君はもともと無関係の人間だ。
The spear's head that was stuck in his shoulder has now disappeared. And it's back again. In this grand entrance hall, there was nothing visibly flammable, and yet the place is going up like it's full of bloody petrol canisters. Fireproof pants because things and reasons?
僕の祖先たちが生活した超スター邸が焼けている。
Jesus, how big is that mansion that they're seemingly falling for like 200 meters? A guy whose waist looks like it's 30 inches has a belt stretching about 2 meters. Despite spending a good few seconds explaining that he had a knife and was about to use it, Dio still fails to take any action. I'll just go ahead and give one final sim for the sheer distance these two fell, and yet it was inside a large but not overly tall mansion. That moment when you've worked out your thigh so much they kind of resemble a butt from behind.
からエネルギーを吸い取る。形は表と裏、同じエネルギーだったのだ。
Throwing away money purely as a visual prop for your storytelling.
世界の帝王になるためにディオはまずジョジョ、君を狙うはずだ。
This feels both an odd time to laugh and odd thing to do stroking a guy's head who is this damn big.
何の挨拶もなしに出てきてしまったな。でも必ず帰る。
Says the first bit inside his head and then the next out loud, no doubt confusing and alarming the other two passengers.
でも必ず帰る。
馬車をぶん投げてトンネルを崩す気か。
Yeah, alright, Captain Obvious. Gets launched up directly into the air, but in the next shot it's clearly still far above them, but then after that is at ground level, low enough to actually pick up their bag of money. This leaning rock placement.
だから人間の子供に催眠術をかけ。
This kid looks like he has a beak and a mouth.
したがって血管ごと凍らせればエネルギーは送り出せまい。
Enemy takes time to explain exactly how and why he's currently winning the battle cliché.
してくれる。
ディオ、君の野望、僕が打ち砕く。
So are we meant to take away from this that these guys basically know how to fly? Or are they just all having a conversation in midair that's seemingly taking ages?
無敵。太陽の波紋を送り込めない。
呼吸法だと波紋。
Dude, this is why you shouldn't be talking so damn much during your battles. At least then there's a chance that you might be able to surprise the enemy at some point. Long story short, stop giving away your tactics.
髪で吸血するなら逆にこの髪の毛から波紋を送り込んでやる。波紋ができない。
Bloody hell, Jojo. Keep it to your damn self and surprise the bastard with a sneak attack. Don't tell him it's coming. This anime is dropping shonenness all over the place at the moment.
二人とも直ちに自首せよ。そうすればメアリーの命だけは助けよう。
Not sure if this really matters or not, but this queen was actually ginger. Probably doesn't matter, but the hair color change is a sin regardless.
何？ジョースターさん、何している？かわすか攻撃するかしろ。なぜ動かない？
Well, that was some risky business. Jojo made a drastic decision based on very little information that could have seen his head removed from his neck and an abrupt end to the entire series.
ジョジョ、そのガキンチョを建物の中へ避難させろ。
Why not have Speedwagon do it, and then you can have your two strongest fighters ready to take him on? Logic.
気をつけて。ここは騎士たちの殺人修練場の遺跡。
ジョースターさん、何か出てくるぞ。
After being told by the kid to be careful of traps and his friend actively warning him that something was coming, Jojo was still able to get caught in a trap.
波紋法は悔しいことに破壊を目的としたものではない。レンガ程度は割れてもこのドアは破壊できん。
There are bricks either side of the door leading directly into the room.
もう嫌だ。この人たちといるのは。この人たちはオイラたちの町に災いを運んできやがった。
Oh, and you're welcome for being saved, you little shit.
どんな方法でもいい。中へ入って力を合わせねば。
In the previous shot, Jojo is shown as being pulled right to the ceiling, and so that would actually choke him, whereas here he's down from the ceiling and in a position that wouldn't.
呆れるわ。なぜいつも黙っててやり返さないのよ。
The sentiment is nice, but it is still 5-on-1.
さよなら、ゼペリさん。
Obviously, a ton of this is reflected on in more detail over on Anime Wins, but I feel like I'd be remiss not to take away 2 sins in memory of this awesome character Baron Zeppeli. Rest in peace.
言った通り、我々は手をかけん。食い殺すのは母親の貴様よ。
Well, I can't show that on YouTube, but believe me when I say it was incredibly f***ed up.
この男、すでにゾンビだ。
What on earth gave that away, Jojo?
こちらは我が師トンペティ。
あなたがツェペリさんの師匠、老師トンペティ。
Said in the form of a statement and not a question is confusing because the last thing said to him was by the guy introducing this teacher.
おめえどうした？なんか様子が変だぞ。
姉ちゃん、姉ちゃん。
Ni-chan. Also, if I was the father, I'd be a little pissed at this kid shouting "Sister!" at the top of his lungs while stood in the middle of the house, where it's not going to do any good.
地獄から戻ってきたぞ、
ディオ。
生きてたのか、ジョジョ。
No.
ディオ様、ここは俺たちに奴の処刑を命令してください。
Whilst most looked like an amalgamation of different animals, this one was clearly an older, ugly man mixed with a simple frisbee.
この牙の歯型としてくれましょう。
Terrible puns are my fucking thing. Get your own.
気化冷凍法。
相手の体内の水分を一瞬にして気化させることから熱を奪い凍らせる。
Perhaps instead of talking about it at fucking length, you should go in and help him.
ダイヤーさん。
Jojo, I love you, dude, but you did only know him for about the last 20 minutes.
スピードワゴン。
Catching a sword that you can't see is coming. Originally, the pair were stood right near each other in the room, seemingly mere feet apart. However, seconds later, they're now quite a distance away from each other.
スピードワゴンが判断する限り、ディオの動きのスピードは動物の境界か。ツェペリさんの破門法を身につけた今なら見切ることは可能。
Why are you narrating the battle in front of them?
今だ。うまい。ディオの右へ回り込んだ。右目は四角になっている。
Don't give away his move, you Shonen-esque narrator.
コリコリ弾力ある頸動脈に触っているぞ、ジャジャー。
That is straight up disgusting to me.
ディオ。
Don't cry. The dude was a fucking cunt to you your entire life.
まったく重てえな。何が入ってんだ？知るか。ゆうべ妙な東洋人が来て頼まれたんだよ。
That's weird Asianism.
誇り高きジョナサン・ジョースターがこの腕の中にいる幸せです。
それは僕も同じさ。心が暗く冷えてしまった時。
When you are so in love that you can literally communicate thoughts via telepathy.
待て！お前は
ボディ来たか。
ディオ！
Instead of chatting, just go and punch the guy and kill Dio.
さっきのジョナサンの様子普通じゃない。
Yeah, as Jojo just stated out loud and loudly in front of you, Dio is alive! Man, that girl sure is forgetful.
勇気を、お前の魂を、パワーを尊敬している。それに気づいたからだ。
Fucking kill him.
我が肉体となって生きよう、ジョジョ！
Now this woman earns the Dumbass of the Year award for not just simply going back to her room and locking the door like he told her to. No, instead he shouted, "Dio is alive!" And then he ran off and she thought, well, I best go after him and see what's up. Idiot. Hey, remember when Lifebuoys used to be made out of steel? Yeah, me neither.
そしてワンちゃんが掴んで止めようとしているのは船の外輪スクリューシャフト。
So when Dio became a vampire, did it also give him the ability to read books ultra fast? Because since Jojo first took him on in this state, he's known about Hamon from the start and all of its abilities, etc. But he's also displayed a knowledge of just about everything else up to and now including old steam engines and what their parts are called.
圧力が鉄壁の耐久度を超えた時、船は爆発する。
But how the f*** do you know all of this?
逃げるんだ、エリナ。この 爆発させる。
Okay, and where the hell is she going to run if the ship's going to explode in the middle of the ocean?
船ごと爆破させようという思いつき。ジョジョ、最後の最後まで屈服しないやつよ。
So if he can just float anyway, what is the point in being carried around in a jar beforehand?
こんなにたくさん。
Get your own sound effects, Jojo.
よースモーキー、とうとう捕まえたぜ。
That moment when you're caught stealing and forced to run on a tiny and slow treadmill.
それじゃ友人の名を言ってみろ。ああ、撃つならよ。
Okay, that's just straight up fucking gross. I'm not even gonna lie.
微妙ながら体温がある、脈拍がある。生きているんじゃこいつは。
What the hell, man? Another sound effect? Two can play that game. Just you guys wait until the very end of this video.
ほら、どこ目つけてぶらついたんだよ、スカタン。てめえのケツ、犬にでもキスさせてろ。早くどけほらこの。
Well now, I must admit that's a new one I've never heard of. What the hell is it even supposed to mean?
さらにおめえはこいつなぜ穴を開けられて生きていられるんだという。こいつなぜ穴を開けられて生きていられるんだ。
The thing I don't understand is that when Jojo keeps making these predictions, the people listen and then perfectly repeat it afterwards. I'll just be spiteful and say something slightly different, making my enemy look silly, and then attack!
いや、やはりお前の素質。放っとけば将来このストレイツ王の強大な敵となっていたろ。
The fact that for a second time now after being attacked, this guy stands like he's a woman in desperate need to take a whiz.
この材質は人体よりも波紋の伝導率がはるかに高く散らしてしまう。
Giving away your secret of protection against Hamon.
よく見ろ、今振り払った手榴弾は。こいつ。
The idea that Jojo managed to place 11 fucking grenades onto the dude's scarf. Also, how on earth did he get all of them to stick to the scarf in the first place? Grenades tend to explode and not just light on fire. Everyone watching this outside is neither A, screaming in fear, or B, trying to run away. That's 2 cents.
リオダダ川で重傷で発見された老人の意識が回復しました。遺跡の場所を聞き出せます。
For keeping Speedwagon alive, I'm removing a sin.
残りの者は全員今日で釈放しよう。
Here, all of the prisoners look to be black, but then a few seconds later, most of them are white?
何？聞こえないぞ。
Being able to speak fluently with your tongue hanging completely out of your mouth.
おお、起き上がるぞ。
That is not standing.
待て。
How can Speedwagon see what is going on inside the bottom of the test chamber when he's at the top and well away from the windows?
壁に向かって走っていくぞ。まさか。
Who was filming him? How did they get such good up close shots?
自分の肉体を折りたたんで入っていった。
It would seem the Germans even decided to place a camera inside of the tiny vent at the top of the room. Why, you ask? Don't be so silly as to ask such an obvious question.
おい貴様、空気供給管のそばに立っているんじゃない。危険だ。
Ignoring orders and also being way more brave than anyone would be in a situation wherein you've just witnessed a man break up his whole skeleton in order to fit inside of a tiny vent.
貴様らか。俺の眠りを邪魔したのは。
喋った。この短い時間で我々の言葉を学習してしまったんだ。
Yes, and he somehow managed to learn words that weren't actually spoken by anyone during the entire episode, such as slumber.
こいつも太陽に弱いのか。
Asking this question after Jojo only just asked, does sunlight hurt him? Why not simply have the Nazi dude run up the stairs and quickly open the door? Stop, dude. Don't do a bloody speech. Just open the damn door and save the world! Zeppeli's grandson just so happens to look exactly like Dio. Necessary upskirt shot? Considering this guy talked just now about knowing all about his grandfather and having strong family ties and bonds, he clearly doesn't know what actually went down that night, given that Jojo did not get in the way.
I
don't even know where to begin with that statement. Is he saying he grabbed a pigeon beforehand and shoved it down her throat without anyone noticing? It's animal cruelty, it's woman cruelty, and it's Zeppeli cruelty. It's just so damn cruel. Considering the first Pillar Man couldn't speak until he'd listened to the soldiers for a while, I'm curious as to how this dude managed it so quickly, having only been awake for about 30 seconds. It's like a reverse Mexican wave. It's a German fall. Deflated Nazi balloons! Oh, yeah, right. This guy's still being alive even though he is now only half the man he used to be. Technically, he popped the bubbles themselves, which were a result of him using his bubble launcher attack. It doesn't really matter that much. Carry on. My god, just get back already. He's been told like 3 times now to move back and he's just standing there like a dope getting constantly cut on his face. Broken legs. Actually, not to be a dick, but he said no one has scarred his face before. There's a big difference right there. Incredibly smart vampire thing is unable to realise when something is slowly moving further and further away each time he looks around. By the way, I also gave this a ton of wins over on Anime Wins because it made me laugh so damn hard. But this here is Anime Sins.
見よ、この無様なヒーローの姿を。ジョジョは地面を舐めながら死んだふりまでして、しかもスピードワゴンを置いてまで逃げ出して。
Hold up, so even the infinite narrator living inside the world of JoJo, all-knowing and godlike, doesn't know what JoJo is actually up to? Well, that's a first.
紛れもないヒーロー。ヒーローの資格を失うとすれば、戦う意志をジョジョがなくした時だけなのだ。ジョジョ
！Shouting JoJo when the guy's like a quarter of a mile away by now.
はったりをかますのよ、ジョジョとやら。
もう少しで完璧に釣れるぜ。その心理をついてやる。
Well, in that case, you better actually say something to the guy rather than doing all of this internal thinking. By now in reality, the dude would have smashed him for staying silent for like 30 seconds.
エシリス様、私はこの波紋使いをえらく気に入りました。
来た! Sound effect thief.
33日以内に俺と戦って勝ち、俺のこのピアスの中にある解毒剤を飲むことのみ。まさに死が二人を分かつまでのウェディングリングよ。
Not to ruin their little marriage here, but till death do us part wasn't actually being said 2,000 years ago when this dude was last walking about.
それは何よりのことですわ。
Having a picture of a square on display.
先生、いきなりヘルクライムピラーに挑まねばならないのですか？俺もこれには一度も挑んだことがない。
この試練を乗り越えなくてはこの島にとどまる資格なし。
But if the Dio lookalike is saying that it's so difficult that even he during his days of training there with her never attempted it, then how can she say if you can't manage it you have no business training with her? Because clearly he did train with her and never dared to attempt to beat the challenge.
多くの修行者が死んでいったというヘルクライムピラーに。
If that's true, then given the fact that he said the challenge claimed many trainees' lives, then there should be a bunch of skeletons down there.
あの女、こんなところへいきなり放り込みやがって。やっぱり尊敬するのはやめだ。
Getting this much rope from tying together fabric from a top that only covered half his upper body. Talking about someone as though they are not directly in front of you cliché.
肺がえぐられなくなっている。肺は波紋使いにとって急所。あっという間の一撃の蹴りだったに違いない。
In that case, his lungs were kicked out and not ripped out, since no ripping action actually took place.
俺がどくのは道にうんこが落ちている時だけだぜ。
奴の波紋が表皮のガードを破り流れつつある。
Dude, it's fucking your Hamon is breaking through my skin. Your, since you know, he's directly fucking in front of you. Well, this happens.
てめえ、遺体の腕を。
はあ、ちょいと細めだが、そのうち一体化して元の太さになるだろう。
Says it's a bit thin, but it's exactly the same size as his current arm. Also, that's what she said.
この帽子はウール 100% よ。波紋はよく伝導するぜ。なんだその笑いは。
Yes, probably because you just gave away your plan of attack to him when you literally stood there and told him your plan of attack. That's probably why, Jojo.
バースデーケーキのろうそくのように綺麗に火を灯して焼いてくれるぜ。
They had many of those 2,000 years ago?
白もいいですけど、たまには派手派手なのもいいと思うんですが。そうですね。白いいですよね。でもやっぱり迷っちゃう。白。いや待てよ。こっちにしようかな。
Okay, the choosing of her clothing for the day has officially reached the point where I'm no longer interested to any degree. In closing, fucking pick one and shut the hell up about it already. You'd think for someone with her high level of training that she'd have realised by now that the odd woman with no eyes standing in front of her is no longer her chatty assistant. Jojo, seeing all of this unfold before his very eyes and knowing full well that the actual maid wouldn't have been able to get inside of the building so quickly, having just seen her outside, doesn't rush in to give aid to his sensei. And I'm telling you all of this to give you a chance to get it back and destroy all of our plans, because, yeah. an entity which is over 2,000 years old using the insult Wienerheads.
太陽の光で消えていくんだ。胸のムカつくやつだぜ。
Despite bleeding all over the floor with blood as hot as lava, the area around the body remains entirely intact.
ちゃんと運転しろよ。
If you guys have watched more than a few of my videos, by now you'll know full well that I love stuff like this. So the fact that this guy saved the dog earns an easy sin removal.
あんざら知らぬ中でもあるまいし、ジョージョ。
おら！何言ってんだてめえ！人の名を気安く呼ぶな、かな！
If he knows your name, then logic would dictate that he knows you.
紫外線照射装置作動！
So not only is his technology this advanced, but to be clear, it's also voice activated?
おい！雪面を滑っていくぜ。しまった！崖の方へ戦績が滑っていく。もし崖下に落ちたら。
This is one of my only small issues with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is that the characters sometimes spend so damn long narrating each moment that they fail to act in general in the moment. Like here, both of these numpties are just saying, "Oh no, it's sliding down the hill," rather than doing something about it. Still love the anime though.
お前の石石に対する執念を利用させていただく防御策というところか。ハモンキック！くらいか！
落下しているつららを波紋で接着。ロープ代わりに。
JoJo once again proves that it doesn't matter how far it looks like he's dropped, when he's talking and falling, he might as well be hovering on the spot.
もっともっと伸びして。かかってね。
I'm sorry, but this just really hit the character's likability for me.
いかんいかん。どうも意地悪かったな、今の俺。
alright. At least they made him acknowledge the fact that he was a douche to the cat. I'll remove 3 of the sins and leave it with just 1 in that case.
壁の中の生物を倒すために世界中を旅していたこともこの時のシーザーにはわからないことだった。
Could have written him a letter or two though.
そしてシーザーは父の後を継ぎ、波紋の修行に入りました。
How on earth has Lisa's servant not yet caught up to Caesar? Caesar left and walked the entire route, and the servant took off after him seconds later. All he had to do was a very light jog and it had caught up to him already.
猫足立ち、中国拳法の構えである。
Also known as really needing a wee stance. I love how they bothered to ensure they shut the door even though a huge hole has now been made in the front of the building. After having already ran and hidden inside the building in the first place. Penis growing abilities.
やつの血で作ったシャボン玉か。くれてやる。人間のように戦士になったからではない。俺にとって強い戦士こそ真理。俺はお前のことを永遠に記憶の片隅に留めておくであろう。シーザー。
I say way more about this over on Anime Wins, but safe to say Caesar's end here and how well it was dealt with by this enemy earns the series 3 sins removed. RIP Caesar.
10年前にオーナーが死んで閉鎖された。それにカーズが目をつけ、太陽から身を守る宿としたのである。
Yeah, of which he's done a piss poor job as well, since if it just put those wooden planks horizontal all the way down, he'd have been able to go toilet during the day without getting a spotted sunburn across one side of his body.
俺の名はワイヤードのベックズ。もともと恋人を絞め殺した脱獄囚だったけど。
No one asked.
お前のような下品者とは口も聞きたくないし、顔も見たくない。
俺は女が俺に対して冗談を言うのは好まねえぞら。
そういう場合はお仕置きだぞら。
She didn't actually laugh.
こいつか。なるほど。女にしてこの冷静なる判断力、洞察力。
That's genuinely sexist. The joke is actually not a joke this time. That was fucking sexist.
なんだ
てめえら全員吸血鬼か畜生
No.
すでに我々はカード様に永遠の命を授かった選ばれたる者そう100対2よジョジョ
Did they quickly plan this whole demonstration right before Jojo arrived? Like, did Cars have them all gathered around and say, right lads, after I click my fingers, I need you... What, me? Yes you, and don't interrupt me please, to say, I give you life, and it's 100 against 2, blah blah blah. Then when he's done talking, all of you wave your arms about.
よし2人を殺せ
私たちを殺したら石石は永遠に手に入らないわよ
待て
You said, hold, but I didn't think anyone was moving regardless.
石石は次元装置で爆破されるわ
How do the helmets stay on their heads upside down?
どれついでにパンティの着替えでも持ってってやるかなにゃんだ
Dude, keep looking for the fucking underwear. Lisa is hot and stylish, but it looks odd wearing sunglasses at night. In fact, it's so odd it then in turn slightly reduces said hotness by around 1.9%. Not enough to worry me, but enough to mention.
50年前だぜ50年前に赤ん坊ってことはおめえ一体年いくつなんだ
Can anyone's math literally be this poor as to struggle adding 50 years with 0 years?
マム様お立ちを
Horses going at high speeds that have 0 slowing down distance.
やってもらうぞジョジョこの吸血馬は150馬力
And how exactly did you gauge that?
スタートの合図はあの雲の切れ目から再び月の光が輝き出た時とする
Or you know, you could do like a countdown or something like a regular person.
我々が一周するたびにあの柱に武器がぶら下げられる
武器
俺かお前か先に柱に到達した者どちらか片方だけがその武器を手にすることができる
So not only have these two chosen the game themselves without consulting with Jojo or Lisa, but now they're telling him the fucking rules seconds before the game itself begins. That's some unfair BS.
俺は貴様の素晴らしいナイスファイトを期待するぞジョジョ
Nervous gulping cliche.
おめえらから汚ねえという言葉を聞くとは思わなかったぜましてや今は命をかけるルール無用のデスマーチ
Well, there are rules in those kinds of situations, but I think the main point here is that they themselves created the game and the rules and they never once said he couldn't do what he did.
そのハンマーくれてやる最初からあえてそうするつもりだった
Then why did you make such a fuss and call him a cheater?
戦闘の天才ぶり見せてもらうぞ油を塗って波紋を流す
Wait, can he actually create oil or has he just got insanely oily hands? Honestly, I've had a holiday between parts 3 and now this part 4, but I can't for the life of me recall them being able to create oil out of thin air. I know later on he's shown with an oil container, but he spread the oil so thickly and effectively, I have to doubt the little container's ability to produce this much so quickly and still have enough left for a big final attack.
さあワムこの俺様のでっけえハンマーの衝撃を
Riding with your eyes shut.
危険だわジョジョ今ワムーに近づいてはいけない
Man, this woman is narrating and giving fucking advice non-stop from the sidelines, and I'm sure there's absolutely no bloody way he'd ever hear her. I mean, he hasn't acknowledged what she's been saying on one single occasion yet, so she should really shut the hell up for now. Chariot being in the exact right place at the exact right time ex machina. Wine glass holding sound effect helps us the viewer know that wine glasses are being held.
なぜ
まともまともに食らったと見せかけるほどジョジョは抜け目ない
Yeah, he's so good he was even able to trick having a ton of blood spurt out of his body during the battle. Over on Anime Wins, I've praised this episode's excellent use of CGI, but this This doesn't look good at all. I mean, it's so fucking obvious that it's CGI on the characters themselves.
絶対的なピンチに追い込まれた時、ショックや失敗、恐怖をスイッチをひねるように心の隅に追いやって闘志だけを引き出す方法。
Then it does kind of beg the question, why were you freaking out so much about it 2 minutes ago?
口から血を吐いたところを見ると内臓をかなり痛めたな。
Or that he just bit his tongue really hard.
呼吸がしまった。顎の呼吸ができねえ。風がなんだワムーの方へ寄っていく。
If you have time to talk, dude, you have time to breathe. Once again, I of course talk way more about this over on Anime Wins, but I do feel the need to remove a sin over on this channel as well for how well this entire scene was handled from start to finish. It was kind of beautiful and soulful, and I just really enjoyed it.
そのクズどもの勝手な行動はそいつらをすでに殺していることからわかるはず。
A reaction to an attack taking place long after said attack cliché.
かつて下の戦車戦競技場の優勝者がこの神殿で敗者の血をおみきに混ぜて飲み干し
They then slowly died from a mixture of HIV and all the letters of the hepatitis alphabet.
ジョジョスピードワゴンのじいさん、そしておめえはニューヨークのスモーキー
As opposed to Smokey from Australia.
ジョジョどこだ。 These
guys' ultra power ultraviolet lights now seem to be doing little other than allowing people to have a little back and forth pushing match with some vampires.
あくまで石石を手に入れればよいのだ。できるだけ汗をかかず、危険を最小限にし、博打を避け、戦いの駒を一手一手動かす。
Kind of begs the questions why they'd even bother going through the whole chariot thing if the plan was to just fuck them over and take the stone anyway.
Wing, 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 wing. Wing, wing, wing.
This is... well, it's straight up weird, to be honest. I mean, he's playing a fake guitar on her legs. Okay, so whilst I really enjoyed this scene, I must point out that his scarf is now no longer on fire or has any visual indication that it was even on fire. Also, Jojo was previously hanging by his leg and now managed to use his scarf, that's right, a scarf, to fling himself up with. I gotta ask, where the hell is the momentum coming from when gravity is against him to achieve that? I know this is an anime and even more so JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I honestly can't ever recall someone being able to do so much with a previously burning piece of fabric. Reaction occurs long after an attack cliché! Yeah, we saw that, Smokey from Minsk, Russia. Turn your fucking lights on!
イギリス空軍の司令官という職に就いていたのだ。イギリス空軍？ジョジョのお父さんもいる？
No.
うらい！貴様にとどめをさせるなんて！
And that, boys and girls, is why it's really dumb to let your enemy know what you're planning to do before you do it. Exhale and then inhale cliché times 2!
やばい！なんかやばいぞ！そのリスに気をつけろ！
Attempting to talk to a squirrel!
夜明けだ！
Wait, so there were still a ton of other vampires just standing around? What the hell were they doing whilst they fired the cannon at their master?
今走りながら策を考えるんだから！静かにしてくれ！
For an entity which had lived the previous 100,000 or so years on the ground, he soon took to fucking flying, didn't he?
スピードワゴン。あれだ。 あれが本当に究極生命体なのか?
Acting like he's injured despite the fact that we saw a few episodes ago that his entire middle section is robotic. Don't get me started on how food and the rest would work, but yeah, it's all mechanical. Wait. What? I suppose I should probably mention here that it's the world's biggest Ex Machina moment in that not only did Jojo happen across a warplane, manage to enter it and fly it within moments and without issue, but he is also able to expertly pilot it as well. Take 2 cents for this, and to be fair, I think most can agree that I'm being pretty lenient here.
2時間は奴から逃げられるってことか。
バカがこの数から一時でも逃げられると思っているのか。
To be fair, that fool has managed to run from you now for a large collection of moments already up to this point. Another 2 hours would make that one giant collection of moments of running. Just die with honor like Arnie did. Yeah, and that's always the result of these things. They loudly declare that he's a threat that must die, and then very loudly all attack and cars be all like, fair enough, I'll kill you all then. Fucking idiots. Previously cut off arm flying upwards at hundreds of miles an hour by a powerful volcano eruption and hitting your enemy in his neck Ex Machina. That's the longest fucking Ex Machina ever. There's no sin here, but I think it'd be a missed opportunity to add in this lovely and fitting meme.
てめえ、今俺のことをバカ者って言ったな。ジョジョ！ああ、生きてる！
共にアメリカへ移住。1948年に
Jojo also sadly suffered a stroke.
ちょっと待って。あんた日本人か。
ああ、そうだけど。
あら、話は別だ。
That's straight up racist.
早く開けようぜ。
And as so many of you have pointed out to me, Irina escaped in the coffin whilst Dio died on the boat, but then someone else said that there were 2 coffins even though we were only ever shown 1. Someone else even said that there was a secret compartment in the coffin that hid Dio, but then we did see Irina surviving in it at the end of an episode. So I'm kind of thinking that I agree they forgot, but don't get mad at me if you disagree, it just very much looks this way. So I'll add 5 cents for that, as it's quite a big deal that it was forgotten.
Nathan Burr, Bird Without a Word, Arias Alibari, Aidan White, PK Fan, Ali 50, Ryan Anderson, Isael Caldera, Chris Harris, Yona Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Luis Hernandez, Kim Munt, Console Peasant 12, Yuki Ali, Manuel Morales, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Sentimento, Jeffa 6263, Amy San, Silva, Master Tank, Boogie, Kevin Nauta, Stefio, Brendan Kriya, Storm 970, Mr. Waffles 64, Theodore Quackens, Kaj Vorzelman, Jordan Samuels, Humye, Crimson Shadows, Kyle Farmer, Buzzbomb 3000, Adora Blue, Yagai 7636.